Dear Hetero Bro, if you're reading this, then you know that your friend is not into girls, i.e., he likes guys. You obviously didn't get to talk about it in full because you're thinking about it and looking it up for answers online. Maybe he didn't tell you. Maybe he saw a picture or an email or a text or even something in real life. You're probably feeling freaked out, confused, angry, curious. Don't be freaked out. You might feel a bit like you don't know him or whatever, but you do know him. This is your friend we're talking about here. You just didn't know everything about him, and he doesn't know everything about you either. So you're kind of equal in that sense. You might also be wondering if he's into you. There's no reason to assume he's attracted to you unless you have other reason to think. So, like that he's hit on you or he told you. In the same way that you're not attracted to every girl, he's not attracted to every guy. If he does like you, that's more complicated. Realistically, if he's attracted to you, he might also be in love with you. And this probably sounds like a lot to handle, and it is, sort of. From your perspective, it's probably that you're just two guys who like to do things together, and who enjoy each other's company. And that's what your relationship is to him, too. But he also thinks that you're, like, probably a really handsome guy. That's not necessarily true either. He could not be attracted to you at all. So, like, for example, sometimes he might be talking and he's listening and he's just like a normal conversation between two guys. And then other times he's probably just like staring at you, kind of not really listening because he's just like thinking about how fucking sexy you are. So just throwing that out there. This is okay, and keep in mind this doesn't take away the good game you had, like basketball game, you played soccer together or whatever. That like crazy drunken night you had, or probably many nights, or any other experiences you've had, or like other personal shit you've exchanged. Really, all it means, well, one thing it does mean is that he's kind of led you into like a new level, into like, as I said, the man cave of his psyche, which seems really lame now that I read it. You might also be wondering why he didn't tell you sooner. It could be because he only figured out it was himself recently. It could also be that at the start of your friendship, he wanted to be your friend for normal reasons, like you had stuff in common, but didn't know how to react, or like to the fact he's not hetero. And this might seem a little weird, because you probably think of yourself as pretty tolerant. I think everyone thinks of themselves as tolerant. But even if you're comfortable with your sexuality and you're totally cool with the fact that your friend's not hetero, admit that you probably haven't gone out of your way to make friends with gay dudes. Not that you don't like them or whatever, but you don't have any other gay friends, so, and you haven't tried to make any. So that's could be a reason why he's like, oh, this guy's cool, but he's not friends with anyone like me, so I probably won't tell him. And right, and so then you can ask the question, like, would you be friends with him now if you had known right at the start? And like, obviously, you probably hope so. Like, I hope so. We all hope so. But like, we don't know. So it could be. Regardless, does it matter who he likes to sleep with? Does it really affect you if he has a pretty girl or an ugly girl in his bed with him? Does that change your relationship? Right. So why would it matter whether you're attracted to the person he's fucking? Like, it doesn't matter at all, right? Doesn't make any sense. So if you remind him of this, that's pretty chill, because it's obvious, but he probably feels like you do care, and maybe you thought you cared, but hopefully you see that it doesn't fucking matter at all. You might also be wondering if he's legitimately gay or just bi or confused. He might not even like this word gay. Like, that's the one that's probably the most popular in use in like the media and on TV and everything. But he might not even like that word. Some people use it, other people don't use it. I don't use it. I think it makes sense to just stick with whatever language he uses. Either way, chances are that if he were bisexual, he probably would have said so, because if anything, there's less stigma associated with that. Not that there isn't stigma associated with being bisexual, but if you're telling your friend, like, oh, like, I'm attracted to this guy, usually they're like, wait, but like, so you don't like girls, and that's like the thing that kind of freaks them out the most. But anyways, that's perfectly up for debate. Where was I? Where am I? Oh, right. And then if he didn't tell you, and you found out some other way, right? Like some rumor, someone told you, or you saw some picture, or whatever. Like we have no idea. Like I can't tell you that. I have no idea whether the fact that he has like a picture of a shirtless guy on his or something on his phone means that he likes guys or just a random picture or it was a joke or like we have no idea. You'll have to talk to him about that. And that brings up an important point. You should talk to him, right? Talking to him is probably a good idea. This is your good friend here. You need to talk about this. Um, if you bring it up and he's like, drop it, then that's fine. Like, it either means that he hasn't figured it out himself yet, so he's not really ready to have a whole conversation about it because he's still thinking about it, processing it, or you just misunderstood. But more likely, he does want to talk about it to at least to some extent. Like, not like he wants to have like a 10-hour conversation with you, but it's good to talk about a few things, just to like clear the air and say some things that probably have gone unsaid for a really long time, especially in his mind. Just you'd have conversations, and he wasn't lying, but he held back from saying a bunch of things over the years, and he probably wants to say them, and he probably wants you to say some things. Anyways, you should also ask that question, whatever's popping into your head. It's better to ask it. People say there's no stupid questions. There are definitely questions that are stupid. And you may be asking them, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't ask them. Any questions you can ask, like, he's going to appreciate. So go ahead and ask them. Other people, you may be also wondering kind of like, well, what's your friendship going to be like going forward here? Are you done? Is everything changed? Like, what does this mean? I would say that it's only going to change as much as you both want it to. If he's really awkward about it, it's gonna be awkward. If you're really awkward about it, it's gonna be awkward. If you both are like adults and you both just treat it like it's not a big deal because it isn't, then it won't be a big deal. I would say the main difference, and this has been with my friends at least, is you have like a new subject to make jokes about. I would recommend taking it easy on like homo jokes and stuff at first, just because it's fresh, kind of a fresh thing here. He's not used to it necessarily. You're not really used to it, so you don't really know what's like too mean or whatever. You may have a relationship where you say some like things that can be considered very mean, but they're not, right? This is like maybe a little bit too personal right at the beginning, but you can use your best judgment to decide when and what types of things to say in that sense. Anyways, if he told you, then count yourself lucky that you have a friend who trusts you. And if he didn't tell you, then make sure that he can trust you, if you know what I mean. All right. Sincerely, a guy who likes guys.